I'm not going to chill this episode. We're going to cry to our knocking point wine. This is the Arrow After Show. It's happening.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a
To
good
the finale,
boy.
everybody.
Don't ever play
To the
with
finale.
guns.
Yes.
But I shot a man in Rio
Yes. Oh, goodness.
just to
Okay.
watch him die.
That's good stuff. Ooh, it's tart.
Yeah, it's hard.
Sorry. Hey everybody, welcome to the AfterBuzz After
I
Show
like
for the Arrow season finale. Life sentence. That's why we're playing a little Johnny Cash for you. Now, we have two special things today as far as what's going on with our show. First of all, tell them about our wine.
So we have a special wine today. This is Knocking Point wine. This is the wine that Stephen Amell makes, and it's actually pretty good. We got it for a special occasion, just for you guys.
We bought it at a restaurant for
Cheers.
$54.
Yes.
There was only one place that had it.
I looked at
We are
4
fans.
different places in LA, 4 different restaurants, only one had it,
Only-
and we got it.
We have one more surprise, but first let's introduce ourselves. Linda Antwi.
Hi guys, Linda Antwi here. What a season finale. Lots to talk about.
Hey guys, Carolina Vanetti. I still have beef with Renee.
Wow.
Wow.
Dang.
Always.
Okay. Hi guys, Olivia deBortoli. I'm so sad that it's the season finale, and it was such a pleasure doing it with you guys. So I'm happy that we're here and to next season.
And I'm Matt Marr, as you know, and we have a special guest today. We have an OG Arrow panel in the house. Alikona Bradford joining us from Skype. Yay! Hi! You look so good and chipper.
Thanks.
Thank you
How
for
are you
joining
guys?
us. Do you feel like the mother panel that your babies are still continuing?
I know. Well, I miss it. I miss talking to everybody and just like connecting live. So I'm glad I could be here.
Well, and we will connect because, as Alikona always says, we are on the panel, but there's one more panel, and it's all of you guys.
Yeah, all of you
So
guys.
Say it, Alikona. I know you want to say it.
Say it.
So this end of my counter space is reserved just for you guys to be a part of this show because, of course, this is always just for you to co-host with us. So be sure to use #ABTV Arrow and join the conversation. And I can see me. This is actually really cool. I'm watching and streaming on my phone.
Oh,
So-
they're freaking out in the chat. So they're all like screaming.
Billy,
away.
Billie Jean Girl says, "Hey, Alakina." Everyone says hi.
They miss you.
Ivan-
Hey, Billy 69.
Oh, Ivan Soto missed you, all caps.
Of course, all caps.
Ivan, he's always yelling. Why are you yelling at me?
Because he's my I call him my AfterBuzz boyfriend now. It's true,
There's
it's
a
true.
story behind
There's a
that.
story behind
So
that.
many stories.
All right, everybody, let's just jump into this. We're gonna be talking about the show. We've got some Alikona has brought some news. We got some other news to show. We're gonna do some fan shout outs because our Twitter was blowing up
my
this
God,
week.
yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about it, and then we're gonna talk about our next season 6 predictions. So
7.
7, whatever. You know, I need
Get
more
with it,
wine.
man.
I need more wine.
Cheers, Matt.
Cheers to that. All right, so let's jump in. We're gonna kind of split this up for everybody. Let's talk about some Laurel and Quentin dynamics to start off with, and then we'll get to some Canary action. So, first of all, who called it? Because one of us had our predictions that, who was it that said Quentin was gonna literally, they said he's gonna jump in front of a bullet and save Laurel.
I think it was her.
I think it was
Yeah,
Carolina.
that was me,
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was me.
It was you. So was it gratifying for you to see that?
Gratifying
Not
is
gratifying,
not the
but-
word I would use. I was really sad, but when they kind of started leading up to their relationship of like father and daughter and him getting her on the right path, I knew that they were going to redeem Laurel, and I knew that she was going to turn on him, not on Quentin, but
on Diaz.
Yeah, on Diaz. So I just saw it coming. I knew he was going to do something fatal to save her.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm sad it came to
I
pass.
know, so too.
But
Well-
I really want to talk about, well, I'll wait till we get to this section, but I have so much to say about his final scenes. I just
Well,
have so
I
much.
kind of feel like we should. I want to talk about Lauren. I mean, it's like the elephant in the room is his passing, and so I know Alikona. We've talked on the show. We are going to miss that actor so much. He
Yes.
and Oliver had such. What did you think about that scene with like him and Oliver
In the hospital room.
in the hospital
Yeah.
room. Like, what was going through your mind?
You know, okay, a few things were going through my mind. One, of course, amazing. Matt, all of you guys, you know, I love both of them as actors. I think they're incredibly talented. So first of all, I like the fact that Oliver was just making amends with everybody, and I feel like it showed a lot of maturity, and I think it was great that the last conversation they had was a good one. But I also was a little disappointed, honestly, in the show for having him die in that way, just because it was like watching Laurel pass away all over again.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
knew because of spoilers that he was going to pass away. But for anybody who didn't know, you know, you go into the scene and it's the same thing. When the real Laurel died, she was in the hospital. She survived the actual wound. Everyone got to talk to her. And then out of nowhere, she flatlined. And so they did
Yeah.
basically the same thing. They just took him into a surgery and he seizured. And I was like, that was a little underwhelming for me.
I agree.
I'm so with you. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like this was a whole Laurel scene all over again. And I feel like it wasn't really fair to the fans that they spoiled it like that, just because, like, we all knew what was going to happen going into it. We even saw a photo of Stephen Amell and Lance, or, you know, Quentin, in the hospital room together. And so, like, we knew everything that was going to happen. And they were like, oh, when he's going to surgery, I was like, okay, well, he's dying. And so I feel like that was just a huge disservice to us as fans
But
of
that's
the show.
on the reporter. Like, that was a
That
really...
wasn't the show. That was the reporter.
That was the reporter. That was a really bad call. People work so hard. Like, and something like that sometimes can get a show canceled. Because the ratings will bomb. And
I
the
feel
network
like,
doesn't care. They'll cut it.
It was a little
Does it-
disappointing.
Does anybody know why he left the show? Like, him as an actor? Was that a choice or was that the show?
I don't think he left.
Yeah, I
No,
think it was
they just let
let him
It was
go.
like when Laurel died, they just want him to die. What were you going to say, Linda?
I was just going to say that I think that it's a little disappointing for someone who was a day oneer to not, you know how if someone is like dying, you want to hold their hand and say your goodbyes.
Yeah.
And I know that we saw a little bit of that, but for him to get shot and then we don't actually see him passing, I thought that part was a little disappointing. Like perhaps I don't know what they could have done, but maybe the whole group, everyone involved from day one could have been able to have that interaction or that last interaction, just because it's like, he goes into surgery and then that's it. So the last we see of him, he's having a conversation with Oliver, and then that's it. So
I agree.
That's my entire bone to pick with that situation. Was I am so angry that they gave that scene to Renee, who's brand new and not the most overwhelmingly liked character. But then they bring his daughter Sarah in. I'm sorry, but if you are gonna have a moment and you're gonna take him out that way, you're telling me that you couldn't give Sarah that first scene and then let Ollie sit there and have a conversation with him? You couldn't give that to Sarah. Really?
True.
You thought that, we should write in Renee? No one cares about his relationship with Renee and the dumb nickname. You brought Sarah Lance back onto the show. Give her a scene that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Alikona, Carolina hates Renee. In case
you didn't
Actually,
notice.
nobody really. I like him okay, but nobody loves Renee on this panel.
You know, I mean, I didn't like him for a very long time. I don't mind his relationship that he has with his daughter.
He's been
and
slightly, like,
I didn't mind
redeemish.
him this episode, but then again, that's because both him and Oliver made amends. Obviously, Oliver knowing what his future was going to hold, but him going around, I knew something was up too. Every moment he apologized or did something to somebody, but I was a little disappointed. And every time he had that moment, and you have this emotional, like, I'm going to put my ego aside and we're going to be friends again and let's shake hands.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a hug? Can I
Yeah.
get something? Can we put the manhood aside? That part was a little disappointing.
Totally. For everybody that thinks that I hate him, I actually was loving him this episode. And I was like, I even wrote that down. I was like, wow, Renee is really making strides. And then they gave him that scene in the hospital with Quentin, and they didn't give it to Sarah. And I lost my mind. I was like, who said this was a great idea?
To play devil's advocate, Winter's Beauty in the chat says Renee and Quentin did have a great relationship, though. I loved it in season 5. So they did.
That's who I wanted to see say goodbye.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to see Renee almost have the moment as much as I wanted to see Oliver, and I felt like I missed that. Because Renee and they, like, when they were getting sober
Over Sarah.
they were getting Sarah. I mean, yes and no. Sarah's been off the show for several. So, like, I have the history, but I mean, maybe that's the problem they dealt with, is that Quentin was such an integral part of Team Arrow.
Yeah.
He really had relationships. He had a relationship with Diggle. He had a relationship with Dinah.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about this, I'm like, how do they?
But it's his
sew
daughter.
this up?
That's what you're doing.
But his daughter hasn't been on the show for like 3 seasons.
Yeah, well, she's been out, and yeah, I agree.
I'm not saying that I agree with that.
I
I'm
agree
just
with
playing
you.
devil's advocate. Yeah, Alikona?
Oh, so I was just gonna say, I just saw at Billie Jean Girl who tweeted, "Thank you, hi," that she had made mention that she didn't cry when Lance died, and I started to get a little bit emotional. But I just feel like the way the story was given to us, it was hard to get emotional because it just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have.
That
I
closure
basically
that-
what the rest of you guys are saying. Like maybe if he would have had moments with other people, we would have been able to go, "Oh yeah, he was so great with this person, But
I kind of wanted him like on the ground, like Linda was saying, like gasping for breath. Laurel's like holding his hand. That's what I want. But I'm
that's
not
exactly what I'm saying.
a writer of the show. Let's talk a little bit though about this episode could be 3 hours long, y'all. There's a lot. I just want to say that white canary entrance from the hospital with the light behind him. I clutched my pearls. I loved it. I'm all for it. What do we think about the interaction with the canaries? This is the is this the first time we've seen Black Siren and White Canary?
Yeah.
What?
And Black, and
Dinah.
Dinah and
Dinah.
Black Canary. So
It's all the
All
canaries.
the
canaries.
so many birds.
Talk
I have
about
a bird
birds of
phobia.
prey.
Yeah.
I know. So okay. So what? Alikona, what was going through your mind when you saw that?
Oh, well, so first of all, okay, I'm going to take it back just a second. I don't want to like ruin the flow or anything, but just mentioning the canaries meeting each other when we saw Dinah meet up with Laurel in the scene where, and she walked up and she went, "Hi."
That was awesome.
Yeah. And then the collar popped off.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes, Diva, like you put your stuff aside
Yeah.
and you handle the mission." And I think Oliver was so right on when he took a moment, stepped back out of superhero and became human and acknowledged the fact that it is so hard to not seek vengeance on somebody who's hurt somebody that you love.
Yeah,
But
so
she was
hard.
able to do that. Yeah, and see the big picture. So anyways, that was a great moment. But as far as when, I'm gonna just say Katie Lotz because it's just easier for me. So when Katie Lotz came walking in, first of all, I saw her name on the credits in the opening of Arrow, and I was like, yes, bring her back. I was really disappointed that it was such a short scene.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
Sure,
cool, the interaction, because you did see this Earth 2 Laurel really evolve, which was a cool journey to watch.
They did a good job.
And so when she did have interaction with Katie Lotz, she was very kind and very empathetic about it. And you could tell at the same time she was having her own emotions that she was dealing with, which I'm sure are really confusing too, because here's this guy who's passed away that is not her dad, but was the one person that actually believed in her and saw good in her. So in that sense, was her dad. And then you're standing in front of his biological real daughter.
Yeah. He looked like her real dad still too.
Yeah.
I almost felt too, she had such a really nice moment with White Canary when they were talking, and she's like, are you like my Laurel? And she was like, hardly, not at all. I thought that was so nice because she almost looked like she was repentant that she couldn't tell her sister, her, quote unquote sister, that, I'm a lot like your sister. She was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to disappoint you. I love her. I'm glad that they're bringing her back in, and I'm really happy that we're going to get more.
Yeah, I really
Black
like this
Canary.
redemption
Siren.
Laurel.
Yeah.
Y'all know I've been on the fence about it because I was kind of like, again, I go, why kill off Black Canary to bring her back in the other form? I feel, but
They did
I don't
a good
hate
job.
it. They did a good job.
job.
All right, I admit it.
Props.
And someone in the chat made a good note that Puddle Pirate Production said, I think it's interesting that they had two separate and different canary cries.
Yeah.
You heard one right after the other, and
And
they
they were
were distinct. And I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? That's good. They like put thought into it. They are two different people.
Yeah.
They had two different canary cries.
But I tweeted Katie Lotz again today. Where is her mother? Canary cry. She needs one. White Canary needs a canary cry. I'm
She
just
does.
saying.
I mean, she's a master assassin, though. The other two aren't.
But she's a canary.
She is.
That's
She should
like
have a
saying,
canary cry.
I'm
It would be
Superman, but I don't.
awesome
I'm a
if she had
Superman,
it.
but I don't fly. Then you're not a Superman.
yeah.
Then you're not.
Then you don't have all
Isn't
of
there?
the things.
There's one
Superman.
that like has that, right? Doesn't Superboy not fly or something?
But then he ends up learning to fly. He just jumps far at first, kind of like the
Yeah,
Hulk.
I remember that.
So, really quick
about-
side note, though, I was reading an article that Katie Lotz did it, not Katie Lotz, excuse me, Katie Cassie, all these Katies.
Yeah.
She did an interview and she was talking about the original Laurel and then coming back and playing this version of Laurel, and how when she first did the first 4 seasons, I believe she was referring to, she said she used to take her job so seriously, which you should do as an actor. But coming back again and now portraying this other version of herself, she's taken just a different approach to her acting and this, and just more relaxed and sit back. And it's ironic because she said that her character currently will make references to the old Laurel being either uptight or being this, that, and the third. And she's like, in her mind, I'm slightly thinking the same thing about myself too. So
that's interesting.
Side story.
No, I like that side story.
You can see the growth in her acting too. Like, she's really grown a lot, and I feel like you can see that she's much more settled in her presence on screen. She's much more powerful to watch. Like, I feel like her and Stephen Amell, like, he doesn't dwarf her in scenes anymore. Like, they really
Like he
can.
used to,
Yeah, they can really. She can hold her own because he's so commanding when he's on camera, and I don't feel her dwarfed by him. And I think that's part of the reason why I initially wasn't a fan of Black Canary, because I felt like she couldn't hold her own against him on screen. But now I really like her because she's really found her power.
She has. And there's a xylophone playing to remind us. Let's talk about Maria Menounos real quickly, everybody. Because when there's a xylophone, Maria Menounos is going to be around. I don't know why. She just carries it.
No, she doesn't.
Sorry, I set you up, Linda.
Every time.
Single time, Olivia.
Every time. I feel bad.
Want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life? For those of you who do, we got a podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition is hosted by our very own AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes, which means tomorrow. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life, from health and wellness to career, relationships, finance, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that it was us at Arrow,
Team Arrow,
that sent you there.
Yay.
Conversations
Can
with
I just
Maria Menounos Podcast Edition. Check it out.
What were you going to say, Alikona?
Shame on me for interrupting. No, I was just going to say, so I subscribe, and if you are on her mailing list, she'll actually send you bits and pieces from her blog and just helpful tips on life, and it's really cool, very inspirational, very intimate with her and her life experience. So I just wanted to jump in and say that I like it.
Also, Cullen Prime in the chat said, I'll be seeing Maria tomorrow before Deadpool 2 starts. LOL. I don't know what that means.
I don't know Cullen's life.
But Cullen, you'll be seeing Maria, I guess.
So let's quickly talk about...
Can we talk about the fight scene in the beginning?
Yeah, let's
So
talk about
She does the first looks for AMC.
Oh, that's why. I was like, I don't know what that
No,
means.
that's what I was thinking.
Before
I was like
Deadpool,
in the commercials.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
like-
Hey,
AMC first look.
it is.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
say one of the hardest parts of being an AfterBuzz is keeping up with Maria, what the heck she's doing, because she does so much.
No,
so
I knew that,
It's
'cause
inspirational.
I have Movie Pass and AMC takes it, so every time I go, I see Maria.
You see Maria. So yeah, that actually was what I want to talk about. That fight scene at the opening of this finale, it really, because there were some things I think kind of dwindled off the finale, but I got really pumped up when this show started. Pardon me, I have a wine hiccup. Hiccup, sorry, I'm gonna chill out, everybody. It was, my face is flush, but it was amazing fight scene, right? Linda?
It was
Yes.
so amazing, and I was happy to see the hand-to-hand combat. I felt like, oh, you know what? They're watching our show, because that's what we've been talking about all season, is that we didn't see Diaz really do hand-to-hand. We saw more guns and knives and all of that. So this opening scene was like phenomenal. And then when they did that slow roll backwards.
Mr. Terrific was terrific.
Oh, he was
again.
terrific.
Yes.
It was all so good. It was all so good. Like, I could watch that over and over again.
And it was like slow-mo in the water too.
Yes.
So like it would be slow-mo, and with the pairing with the
with the flips.
Yeah.
So
And
good.
And then the
music,
Canary fight
too.
was good too.
yeah, the
Actually,
Canary fight was
Canaries,
good. Yeah.
they-
Excellent fight
It was
scenes.
great. And then lastly, let's talk about Diaz and Oliver's fight scene in the rain. Someone
yeah.
my coat. Alikona, what was your thought?
Okay. Well, before I give thoughts, I have a suggestion for the writers. Great scene. Would have been better if it was shirtless. I'm just
And that wasn't even Matt Marr, you guys. That was not even Matt
Y'all see
Marr.
where I get it?
Yeah,
You see where I
Allie.
get it? It wasn't just me.
It's not Matt. It's
Allie,
not
I
always
feel like
Matt.
you need to grab a glass of wine so you can drink with us for the finale.
It's true.
That was funny.
Yeah, but it was good again, hand-to-hand combat. Oliver's like got him almost like literally cornered.
Yeah.
And then Black Siren comes
She
and she's
ruined
like,
it.
Oh, that was a good
With
sound
the
effect.
arrow, too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah.
So what do we do? So, and then Black, so I was kind of bummed when Black
Same.
Siren blew him off the water.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we did not like Diaz as a big bad Alikona
We
this
did
season.
not
We
at
felt like
all.
it was just
No.
kind of,
Weak.
what did you think of him as a big bad?
He's like a cockroach. Like, you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It survives everything, even in
Seriously.
nuclear
Yeah.
winter.
I thought we were done with him for sure. I cannot
I know.
believe
And
that
like
we're
a
going into
cockroach,
season 7.
He popped back up for season 7.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna call him
Okay,
next year. I'm gonna
A,
be like the Roach is
This
back.
is if he does continue on to season 7, then
Which
it
he
is the
will.
Well, that's
first
what
time
they
in Arrow
showed.
history that we've seen a big bad continue on
Oh,
into
that's true,
another
yeah.
season.
That's true.
So in that aspect, it's cool. But I'm still really confused how this one man can control an entire group of people. And I get it, people are afraid because he's blackmailing them, this, that, and the third. But you'd think that people would form a coup because it's one man.
And he's
he's
just-
not
and
even
he's-
a meta.
Yeah, and he's just a
Yeah.
thug
Yeah, he's
with
not
a
bad.
gun and
He's
some
really
knives.
just a thug with an attitude. But I wanted to point out, so they were setting us up for the quadrant, and then in the penultimate episode, before the finale, they had him just clean
They
out
just, like,
the
get rid of
entire
them.
quadrant, and they brought out the longbow hunters, who they have like even everybody else is scared of them. People thought that they disappeared in the 1950s, they mentioned. So I'm wondering if the longbows are going to be part of season 7. And part of that, which I did a little research for everybody, is that the longbow hunters were actually a short Arrow miniseries published in 1987 by Mike Grell. And the longbow hunters are actually like shamed Yakuza led by a woman named Shadow.
I'm
And
down for that.
And I think that that's exactly what's going to happen.
That's an
because
arrow
why-
bad instead
right,
of this
Yeah.
weird
exactly.
Diaz thing. That
Yeah.
is an arrow bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
and-
wonder if they're going to kill him off early next season because he's going to think that he's got the longbows under control. And then she's like, no.
Well, we're not in predictions
Goodbye.
yet, girl.
I'm just saying.
I
I'll
know,
put it
but I
out
mean,
there.
that was a good one, though.
Dancer Fruit says, out of all the villains, why to survive, why him? Like, seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
there was
exactly.
so
Damien
many
Dark
good-
was a stronger candidate.
Yeah, he was like Damien Dark was like my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay,
I
that's.
also really liked the calculator. He wasn't a big bad,
Yeah.
but I
I
loved
liked
him.
him
was good
too.
too.
All right, I feel like we're done with Diaz, right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
talk
we're
about
done
him.
with Diaz.
I want to talk about Oliver, but I just want to remind y'all real quick that, hey, leave a review of this on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. We love it when you press that subscribe button, and we love it when you give us 5 stars. And you can put whatever, whether it's I Love Arrow or Alikona's back
Or Matt Chill.
whatever you want to put.
Any of the things.
Whatever you want to put. And also, if you're listening on the YouTubes, just hit that subscribe button. Give us a little that thumb up that says like. Not this one. We're not doing that.
We're not playing that game.
Let's let that one just go.
Let's do that one go. But do a thumbs up, and we appreciate that so much. So, okay, so I kind of saved the best for I'm like Vanessa Williams. Sometimes the snow.
Wait,
I love Vanessa Williams, and if you don't like her, you're on my list. Okay, so let's talk about Oliver. So,
Yeah.
because really, it really kind of was his episode. So, I mean, where do I start with Oliver? He really did kind of make him in. This is my one kind of beef with Oliver. I'll just start with this, and then y'all tell me what you think. I know you're going to go to jail. I know you're doing all this. You don't want to tell anybody. But you need to tell your wife who is raising your child that you're going to frickin' prison. I had a problem with that, and I kind of thought it unbelievable.
I agree.
After what Oliver has been through, and that whole episode, was it last episode, the episode where Felicity's like, we're a team, we support one another, and he totally didn't do it again, and it pissed me off.
Yes.
Never mind last episode, that entire season where he lied about having a kid, and now who's raising his kid?
I just
Exactly.
thought it was interesting because we talk about how long we waited for them to get married and
Yeah.
be married and be together. And then all that they've gone through where I have your back, you have my back, and then you're going to make this unilateral decision where you're going to a supermax prison and you're not going to tell your wife or your kids until like it's actually happening. That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
That was like the core of their problems throughout their relationship.
Yes.
The number one thing that they had an issue with was lying and hiding things from each other. And it's like, Oliver, you can't do that again. You can't lie to her, even not even lie, but like omit the truth from her and not tell her these things.
Well, he was also kind of telling her that she needed to go into protective custody as well, and that he had kind of been making that decision until Diaz was caught. Ali, I feel like you're dying to say something.
Yeah. And why are you dying over there, Matt?
Well, you know, it's not necessarily about Oliver. Like, yeah, I get it where you guys are coming from, but I think my frustration and my anger more so was from What's Her Bucket, who I've disliked from the beginning. She popped back up into the show out of nowhere.
Oh, Watson.
Oh,
yeah, Watson.
Thank you.
Watson. Yeah.
Okay, Watson.
Yeah.
So she popped up back out of nowhere. And it was really confusing to me that Oliver thought of her to ask her for help when she was the one who was trying to put him to jail.
Which is what
and
I
the
said.
fact that two teams came together, they worked together, and she's like, oh, you know, last episode, I just want to hear you say it. Okay, power trip much. And then for him to sit there and work side by side. You, woman, were in a building where you could have died because of all these explosives, plural. And who was out on the other side of the door when you escaped that helped disarm that bomb, or at least delay it for a few seconds so you could save your life? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that was Oliver. But yet you want to send his butt back to jail because of some agreement when you have the power to probably make it dissolve? I'm like, get out of here.
And you know what? She, just to jump off of that, and she kept saying, like, she said it like 3 times, and unfortunately, this doesn't change our agreement. This doesn't change, like,
we
you
get
know
it.
what?
We get it.
There's an agreement.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
what I really didn't get is that their agreement had to have entailed actually catching Diaz.
I don't think we know all of the agreement yet.
I don't think we will know
It's like ridiculous. How are you going to put him in jail when he's the best hope you have to actually catch a mass criminal who's now on the run?
Well, I started.
That seems kind of dumb.
It does. It also. I love that as we're talking about this, Matt Shamblou.
Matt
in the chat
Shamblou, you're
just said,
killing it.
Oliver is way too pretty for prison.
You're not wrong, Matt.
Hey,
You're not wrong.
If Arrow goes there, I'm fine with it.
You know?
Like Arrow meets Oz, I'm okay. If Chris Maloney shows up, I'm okay.
Matt, reel it in.
If Oliver makes out with the guy,
Reel it
that's
in.
gonna explode.
Matt, reel it
I'm
in.
just gonna go.
Reel it in.
Reel it in.
Remember last week? Reel it in.
Okay. Coming back.
Did anybody else hope when he was walking into the jail cell that his cellmate would be Manu Bennett? Because in my mind, I was like,
Oh.
I was expecting for
And
there
then-
to be a cellmate, though. I
and then they
was
would make
expecting to
out.
look over and then,
I
well,
was
maybe not the
waiting for
makeout
like
part.
a camera pan on some of the people he's put behind bars.
Arrow meets Prison Break, Ivan Soto. That's smart.
That is smart. Yeah, I think so. And again, somebody predicted on this panel, maybe it was Linda. Somebody predicted that the next season was going to be Oliver in prison. Who was it?
That was Linda.
I think it was
Linda.
Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good job on the
Good job,
prediction on
Linda.
that one. So how did we feel about Oliver kind of has this moment. It seems like with what did Felicity call it? I thought that was a great line where she said
She has all the great lines, you guys. All of the good
farewell
ones.
tour.
the Oliver farewell tour.
Yeah.
Which farewell did we like the most?
I actually really, really loved his scene with Black Canary.
A Black Siren, like I don't know.
Black Canary, the new girl,
with Dinah.
Yeah, I love that scene.
It
She's
was
not
good.
my favorite character,
Yeah.
but
I
this
know.
really made me warm up to her, and I thought it was such a wonderful scene. And that's when I was like, something is seriously up. Like either he's planning on giving himself over to Diaz, or he's gonna sacrifice
Yeah.
himself.
Did y'all
or
think more
something.
people were gonna die? I
Yes.
thought more people were gonna
Yes.
die.
I thought he was gonna be like permanently injured or like semi-permanently injured.
I agree. And like speaking of doing the farewell tour, you not at one point during this farewell tour that you could have been like, "Hey, Felicity, I told Watson that I was going to go to jail for her." Like you couldn't have said one of those things during this farewell tour.
Yeah, but at the same time, was there really time for that? Because if he would have brought that up, she obviously would have objected, and it probably would have clouded her mind as far as keeping her off of focus and doing whatever it is that she needed to get done. So I'm not saying I agree with him, but just playing devil's advocate, if he went around telling people what the deal was, they'd be busy going, Oliver, man, like, that's not the right choice, blah, 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 blah. And that's just a waste of time when the goal is get Diaz as quickly as possible, get Lance safe, get Laurel safe. So
I partly agree with you, but I think that, your wife and your kid, you have to tell them.
Yeah, I think you have to tell them. It's like a partnership. I personally liked, my favorite actually was the Oliver and Diggle scene.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Because I didn't want Diggle to take the Green Arrow outfit from him.
Which I thought was a little weird.
I felt weird, but it was... To me, it felt out of place, but in a good way. Like, Oliver probably, honestly, not all of them probably wanted to do that, but he felt like it was the right thing to do.
Olive branch.
You know how, like, when you tell somebody that you're going to go, like, to their one-man show, and then you say you're going to go, and then they say it's sold out, and you're like, hey, I did my good deed. I said I was going to go.
Or you can pull a Matt and say you're going to come and then just not show up.
You know what? I was watching my Modern Family episode I was on, and I got real drunk last night. That's what happened.
And you're starting it again tonight?
I'm not getting drunk, but I am going to have some wine. Anybody else favorite Oliver farewells? What was yours, Olivia?
I mean,
Alikona, you're next. Get to thinking.
I agree.
Okay.
I liked him and Dinah's. I just didn't like that he was doing that. I think that clouded me as a watcher, being like, I didn't like that he was going around and then at the end seeing that that was the reason why he was doing that. I don't know. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? Okay.
No, I didn't like any of it.
Alikona, which one did you like? Did you like any of the farewells?
I did. I actually didn't mind it. I get why he was doing it. At the same time, I don't think sorry, my phone, it's the Twitters, the tweeters. But anyway, I think that the old Oliver would have never done that. He would have just like been brooding and blah, 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 blah. But so in that sense, I think it shows maturity. But I actually liked the interaction between him and Renee. And not because, like we said before, I was never really a fan of Renee when he decided to get all like cray-cray. Because before that, I didn't mind him. But anyway, but I did like the fact that both of them, again, pushed their egos aside. And this whole time, Renee's had such resentment towards Oliver. So it was really nice to see them both just stand there and him actually accept the apology, because my expectation of Renee would be like, whatever. Yeah. So the fact that he was receptive to it and they took the time to just, and I felt like also too, Oliver, everything he was saying, it seemed genuine. None of it was like, well, I guess I'm going to say this now because
that's true.
That's fair. That's fair. I agree. Well, again, we could talk about a lot about this, but we, AfterBuzz is going to kick us out if we keep, or I'm going to get drunk again on this wine. So let's talk a little bit. Again, you guys, you killed it this week in our Twitters.
Yes.
I mean, and we... Literally, it was like every day. Wasn't it so exciting? You look on your Twitter, and there's like 20 direct messages. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think somebody was talking about doing laundry. I don't know. It wasn't even sometimes about Arrow, but I still enjoy it. And Linda, we have some fan shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to Lilo, because I think he or she, I don't know, was really leading the pact.
Oh, yeah.
And really just including everyone, so I think that's great. And we want to shout out Renzi Rains and Team deBortoli and TV Fan Maniac. And our new viewer, and I hope she's in the chat right now, Judy Little.
Yeah, I think
Little.
Lilo told her about us.
Yeah.
Actually.
So
now she's watching. So thank you, Lilo.
And that means a lot, you guys. It really means a lot. So let's jump into, led by our own Alikona Bradford, OG. We're going to call you Alikona OG Bradford. Let's talk about some AfterBuzz news.
AfterBuzz news.
AfterBuzz TV news.
It's been a while, guys. Might be rusty, so hold on. Okay, I'm ready, guys.
We're the weirdest panel. I love it.
I know, right? Unfortunately, usually I like to do pictures, but you guys are stuck looking at my face instead of looking at pictures, so I'm just going to do my best to describe to you.
Okay.
If you follow Stephen Amell on Twitter, then you've already seen the pictures. He went to Broadway and he saw Frozen and he let it go. And when he did, his daughters got he got the tickets via Colin Donnell because his wife I don't know if she's Anna or Elsa, but she's one of them.
Colin
in
Daniel's a
Frozen.
Broadway star, so yeah, he's married to a Broadway star
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Well,
Patty
Idina
Marin is
Menzel
her
is
name.
Elsa, and Anna is Kristen Bell.
No, in the
no, in the
musical.
Oh,
No,
the
no.
musical. I was
No,
like,
in
wait, I'm so
Broadway.
confused now.
Yeah,
Broadway.
in
Got
Broadway,
it.
yeah.
Okay, so anyways, they went to go see the Broadway show, and Stephen Amell said he was so delighted. I'm just saying delighted. But anyways, he was really happy because his daughter walked up to Anna and Elsa after the show and was like, my dad's the Green Arrow. I'm like, whoa. Boom. Okay. But speaking of Colin Donnell, you know, we got to see that little cameo of him last episode, and so there's been speculation that maybe he could come back. And the reason is because he's been for the last 4 seasons on Chicago MD. No, wow.
One of
He was
those,
on NBC.
one of those
On one of
fire
those shows.
Chicago
Anyway,
Med.
One
Chicago
of
Med.
those Chicago shows.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So his character, if anybody watched the season finale, was offered a job position at the Mayo Clinic, which who turns that down? And he didn't necessarily say yes or no. So technically that could be an out if he wanted to leave the show and, I don't know, come back to Arrow. I don't know how they do that, but I thought that was fun. And then I got lots of news, guys. So
A lot
if you
happened
guys...
this week. A lot happened this week. Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So this actually happened a little bit earlier, but for those of you who are into finance, Katie Cassie is the spokesperson for something that Capital One is doing called Capital One Cafe. So she's been endorsing it, and basically Capital One is opening these little cafes and for free educating people on finances and personal wealth like that. So she just thought, if you Google it, you can see she interviews and talks about how cool it is. But the point is, it's finding your financial superpower.
Okay.
Oh my
So,
gosh, wait, side note, I
handle that.
passed one of those in Santa Monica the other day. It's right by the promenade on Broadway across from Fred Siegel.
Oh, look at
So
that.
if you're here in LA, go check it out. It's right in Santa Monica.
All
I
right.
didn't know what it was. I was like, is this a special coffee shop just for Capital One owners? I'm
No.
confused.
Girl, no, free financial advice. You
Now
go.
I know.
So, okay, now I'm sure Arrowverse people have heard, but I have to bring it up. Matt, you were talking. Matt, I don't know if I want to share this funny story, but he texted me earlier today. It was like, oh my
Okay.
God, girl.
I texted Alikona and I said, girl, you got to talk about this. You got to talk about this story. And I thought that I was sending what we're about to talk about Batwoman being on Arrow. But instead, I sent her the story that I got from my brother earlier, is that a woman in my hometown of Ardmore, Oklahoma was killed by a pack of dachshunds.
Wait,
And I was like,
Wait, well, hold on. He texts me and he's like, oh my God, girl, did you hear? And so I go to this article about this horrific death by these tiny dogs that ate this woman alive. And he was like, I'm so excited.
I was like, you got to talk about this. The fans are going to love it. So, but instead of little puppies, Alikona just said, well, I love puppies. But let's talk about Batwoman. I am freaking out over this.
I'm like, would you like to cast me as Batwoman? Do you guys need a Japanese Batwoman? Because I will totally audition. Anyways.
But yeah, so
Okay.
she's come, so
Go ahead.
not only is it, to my understanding, I'm too excited. I totally overstepped, but I don't care. It's Batwoman's coming back. It's coming. So basically, Stephen Amell talked about in the crossover, Batwoman's
yes.
coming in. But not only Batwoman, y'all. Gotham City is going to be now a part of Arrow. Because, and I didn't know this, Carolina told me that Gotham got canceled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that show was terrible.
One
That show
final
was so bad.
season and they are done.
That is the only DC. I watched like 5 episodes and then I was like, I can't.
But
So
what
Gotham's
I'm thinking
gone.
is that CW has all the rights now because they don't have a competing network with a competing DC Universe show.
Exactly.
It's theirs.
So I am all about this. I think Batwoman is like one of the first lesbian characters, lesbian characters in comics. I'm all about it. I couldn't be more excited. Go, your phone.
Oh,
Your phone is
P.S.
blowing up,
though,
girl.
There was a reference in season 1. So apparently, okay, I'm gonna read this. Season
much
1 of The
news this
Flash. There was a newspaper from 2024, and
Yes.
it teased an article about Wayne Tech merging with Queen. It says Inc., but I think it was Queen Consolidated. That's what they meant. But anyway,
Yeah,
maybe. All
interesting.
right. All right. Do we have more news or is that it?
I do. I have 2 more stories.
Okay, quickly.
I should have reversed it because it's not as happy of a story. But I love Colton Haynes, so I always like to update news on him. And unfortunately, it was official May 1st, but him and his newbie husband are filing for divorce.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be so much worse. I thought you were going to tell us he wasn't coming back on the show.
No, he's coming back
coming
because
back.
he's single. He doesn't
He
mind
needs the
coming to
money.
Vancouver, yeah.
I say, yeah, girl, he's got more free time now. But anyways, so him and Jeff Leatham broke up, and I guess people maybe were giving him a hard time, and it was just ironic timing-wise, that Colton Haynes, because of course, you know, he sings as well, he released a song that was called Man, It Suck.
It was
Not
all
sucks,
about like
but Man, It
cheating
Suck.
on you and stuff like
And
that.
yeah, it's about cheating. And
And
so,
they
of
thought it was
course,
his
people
ex.
speculated. And then he
That's
ended up
sad.
tweeting that, you know, Jeff's a great guy.
It
He's
wasn't
never
him.
cheat. Please don't be mean to him. So I went, oh, he's probably getting like some serious social media hate tweets going on. But so yeah, that was my news for that. And that made me really sad because they're such a new couple, marriage-wise. And then the other one, if you've been following him, unfortunately, his mother got really sick earlier this year. She had cirrhosis of the liver. She passed away in March. And then recently he came out and he did I guess you'd say an interview, and he was talking about how he tweeted it, I'm sorry, or Instagrammed it. He had to pick up his mom's ashes after she'd been cremated. And he said when he was driving, he got so sad that he cried. He pulled over to the side of the road. He said he cried for about 3 hours and then ended up just checking into a Motel 6 on the side of the road. Cried more, fell asleep in the bathroom, hugging her urn, woke up an hour later, went outside, and there was a little baby bunny. And he said, we locked eyes for like 20 minutes. It just stared at me, and I felt like it was my mom just saying, I'm here. And I was like,
Colton Haynes needs a hug, y'all.
Yeah, he does.
Let's see him. Give him a hug.
He needs a lot of loving.
I would give him a little more than a hug.
Oh my God.
I know you would.
But,
Yeah, you would.
I would crush him. I'd be like Jabba the Hutt sitting on Princess Leia. I mean, he's so little and twinky. Anyway, so I just ruined the news.
Yeah.
I just ruined the news. Any
No,
more
that's
news?
so
Are we good?
sad.
Let me
I just
answer
wanted
one more
to-
thing.
Yeah, just one more thing. So Arrow is switching time slots for the second year in a row. So season 7 will be airing Mondays at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central, following Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends.
So we'll be here on Mondays next
It'll be
week.
on Monday because
So
as
will they be moving Supergirl then?
well, what's happening because Alikona and I on CW Weekly hashtag, which by the way, we got a shout out from a fan this week who missed Erica and Alikona on CW Weekly, the show we used to do. CW's moving to Sunday nights.
Yeah.
So I bet
Yeah.
some of these shows, some of them are going to move to Sunday
Juggling.
nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
so
if
they've gotta come
Flash
out.
will move to Sundays because that's a big day.
I don't think they're going to move their best show off of
No.
Tuesday. But some shows might move to Tuesday.
And speaking of, Ivan really wants us to know, Paul Blackthorne is on a new NBC show called The In-Between. It was announced.
Yeah,
right.
Linda
Oh,
was going to
really?
say
That was
that.
the rest
Yeah.
of her news.
Linda Antwi was already with you, Ivan, but we appreciate you. We love you very much. All right, so we had a lot of news this week.
A lot.
And I liked it. Okay, so let's talk about our Arrow Bullseye of the Week. All right, so I briefed Alikona on this. So what is everybody's... Alikona, we'll let you go first. What was your bullseye for this episode?
oh, be nice, be mean. What should I do?
Be nice, be
nice.
mean. But,
Well, what
Okay.
oh,
On my bullseye.
on your bullseye.
Be nice.
Be nice, yeah.
Okay. Well, then you guys go first.
No.
No,
You
do
can
whatever
be
you
shady,
want.
be mean, whatever you want. Say your truth.
Okay, so my truth is this. I feel bad.
Say
so
your
the
makeup
entire
looks pretty.
season that I've watched this relationship with Oliver and his son, I love Stephen Amell's interaction with the little boy who plays his son. And I'm sure Stephen Amell, I've heard he's such a generous actor, so I'm sure he really helps and coaches this little boy. I'm not sure if he was an actor prior or if it was one of those, he looks a lot like Stephen Amell, so we're just going to cast him and then teach him along the way. But I don't buy him as an actor. I'm so sorry if the little boy is watching. It was nice to see
not
him get
good.
emotional
He's
this
not
episode,
good.
but there were a lot of moments where I felt like I was watching somebody say their lines or maybe not understand the degree of the emotion in the scene that they were in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
He's no Haley Joe Osment.
No.
No, and so I guess that the reason I say Bullseye is just because it stood out to me so much the entire season. But it was cool to see that the little boy did get there emotionally. Still wasn't 100%, but when he was saying his goodbyes and you saw the teary eyes and you're like, okay, I think that he's growing. So that part to me is cool.
Black Magic is with you, Alex. She said Black Magic says William is effing terrible, and then Ivan says harsh. That's
He
harsh.
said,
Well, yeah,
that's
and that's
harsh.
the thing, though. I don't want to be harsh on a child actor
but
because
some-
it is a child and he is still learning, and
No,
he
there's a
shouldn't
lot of
have to be
child
bashed on
actors.
social
No.
media.
You're getting paid, so bring it. All right, everybody. So we're going on time, I know, but so let's really quickly go through our bullseye.
We already talked about mine. Mine was the Oliver farewell tour that Felicity talked about.
All right, and yours?
I have a line for my bullseye. Talk to me, Blondie.
That was a good one.
loved
that
it.
was a good one.
Mine is, a lot of people are actually saying it in the chat, is when Anatoly came up to everyone was like, oh, we also have costume parties in Russia. I laughed.
That
I
was
saw
great.
other people
That
said
was
that
good.
in the
That's
chat.
everybody's
So.
bullseye. My bullseye, I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again, was White Canary's entrance. That is the way you walk into a room, ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
girl,
queen.
yes.
All right. Quickly, because we're running out of time, and Anthony's going to, we'll give you wine, Anthony.
Yeah.
What are our AfterBuzz predictions for next season?
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right.
All I know is that Diaz is going to be back, and I think that what Carolina said about the longbow hunters is probably going to be something that is true, where he thinks he runs them, but they're gonna run him, and he'll finally be done being the big bad.
Yeah.
All right.
My prediction was an epiphany in the middle of our panel, so I'm sticking with it. I think Shadow's gonna be like, joke's on you. Dead.
I want it to be
Dog.
like this season of women next year. That's
It
what I
sounds like
want.
it might
Like
be.
seeing Watsy, seem like a sassy woman of color kind of working with Team Arrow. I'm all for it.
A quick
right?
side
Yeah.
prediction is I think that we're gonna get more of Siren and Canary working together. Black Canary
All
and
right.
Siren.
Alikona, what's your prediction?
Well, I got to piggyback off of the ladies, and I have to say the fact that you guys mentioned Shadow, like she's associated with this, that yeah, absolutely. I think that she's going to come back and be like, no, not dead at all. And that'd be cool to see her flip everything. Now, as far as Oliver being in prison, I don't know if they're going to do the same thing they did to us with this season where, Oliver, I didn't even remember. It's been so long. You know how there were like multiple episodes where he was no longer the Green Arrow. I'm like, please don't do that to me again for season 7.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. We did the whole repeat with the Quentin death thing. Let's not repeat and keep repeating. But I think that he'll be broken out pretty quickly.
All right.
There was something else with this prediction, and I just
That's all right, Anthony. Now let's
But
Olivia.
anyways,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alikona. Do you have one? Oh, no, we're good. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Skype, we don't know. Olivia deBortoli, prediction.
I have a prediction from the chat really quick. Our Art Master Austin says, panel, I think Earth X Quentin will come to Star City, which would be awesome. But I don't think it's going to
He's
happen.
on another show.
Give it a
Yeah.
season.
on another
Give it a
show.
season.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. My prediction is that we're not done with Oliver. I think he's going to lead he's going to do some things from prison, and I think he's definitely going to escape in the first few episodes.
My prediction, and you're hearing it here, everybody, on May 17th at 11:14 p.m. Birds of mother frickin' prey. Gotham is opened up. All 3 Canaries are here.
They're gonna be
It's going to
together.
happen. It's going to become a spin-off. I'm going to pee my pants, and it's going to be awesome. That's what I want to happen. Boom.
If you
Greg
guys are just
Berlanti's gonna have
listening,
14
Yes.
shows on the
know.
air.
Yes.
Like,
So many.
cha!
And with that, Alikona, tell everybody where they can find you and say goodbye.
bye. You can find me at yours truly, Alikona, on Twitter. There's little underscores in between, and it's abbreviated yours, you-are. But on Instagram, which I'm a little bit on there more often, it's actually spelled out yours truly, Alikona. So find me there.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
hanging with
joining
us.
us.
Thank
Olivia,
you.
Alikona,
Bye.
we
Thank
love
you for
so
having me.
much.
bye.
All right, Miss Linda Antwi.
Guys, I loved hearing from you guys on Twitter, on YouTube. You're really, really active, and I know that this is the season finale, and I'm going to miss you guys, but you can still reach out to me anytime. Linda's so girly, all across social media.
Hey guys, I'm Carolina Benetti, and you can find me on Twitter at Carolina Benetti and on Instagram at LenaBean113. And I'm not done with superheroes yet because I'm wrapping up the Supergirl panel this year, so check in on Monday nights.
Which is really good.
It's really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Supergirl's so good.
Yeah, you guys had so much fun talking about Arrow. Can't wait for next season. You can find me at Olivia deBortoli on all social media.
And you guys, I'm the Matt Marr. You can find me M-A-T-T, 2 T's, 2 R's. And also, I do Riverdale podcast we just finished up. And also, I do, what do I do here? Queer Eye.
Southern
I do Southern
Charm.
Charm.
Yeah.
But also, I have an advice podcast because I'm a therapist called Dear Maddie Show. And I just realized now, over the summer, I'm going to have everybody on our panel on my advice podcast.
I need advice.
So be sure to
need it.
follow me at the Matt Marr, and I'll let you know when those episodes air.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
everybody.
Bye,
We'll
guys.
see
so
you next
much.
fall. Bye.
See you in the
We love
fall.
you.
See you in the fall.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.